Death is a universal human experience, yet how societies understand and ritualize it varies widely. Across cultures, death rituals serve multiple purposes. They honor the deceased, provide solace to the living, and reinforce spiritual or religious beliefs about the afterlife. While some traditions focus on ancestor veneration and reincarnation, others emphasize salvation, judgment, or a return to nature. Herein, in this episode, we explore the diverse ways in which cultures around the world approach death, examining their rituals and conceptions of the afterlife. Before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe to our channel Sociopedia. Death rituals are deeply embedded in cultural traditions and often reflect a society's broader worldview. Anthropologists suggest that these practices help individuals process grief, establish social continuity, and maintain spiritual connections with the deceased. In many societies, rituals surrounding death also reinforce social hierarchy and identity. For example, the ancient Egyptians had one of the most elaborate death rituals based in their belief in the afterlife. They believed in the concept of the Ka, spirit, and Ba, personality, which needed to be preserved for eternal existence. Mummification was a key process to ensure the body remained intact for the deceased's journey to the underworld. The Book of the Dead provided instructions for navigating the afterlife, including the weighing of the heart ceremony, in which the deceased's heart was weighed against the feather of Ma'at, truth and justice. A light heart signified righteousness, granting entry into paradise, Aru, while a heavy heart resulted in destruction by the devourer, Amit. Contrary to ancient Egyptians, Hinduism views death as part of the cyclical process of samsara, rebirth. The goal of life is to attain moksha, liberation from the cycle of rebirth. Hindu funerary rites, known as antiesti, typically involve cremation. The deceased's ashes are often scattered in sacred rivers like the Ganges, believed to purify the soul. Hindu philosophy asserts that karma, actions in past lives, determines the soul's next incarnation. Thus, death is not the end, but a transition to another existence, shaped by past deeds. The rituals performed by the family, such as shraddha, offerings to ancestors, help ensure the soul's peaceful journey. Talking about traditional Chinese beliefs, influenced by Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism, emphasize ancestor worship. Death is seen as a passage to another realm where ancestors continue to influence the living. Families maintain altars and make offerings of food, paper money, and incense to honor deceased relatives. The Chinese concept of the afterlife includes the underworld, Diyu, where souls undergo judgment. Taoist and Buddhist traditions describe levels of purgatory, where souls are purified before being reborn or reaching enlightenment. The Qingming Festival, or Tomb Sweeping Day, is an important occasion for families to visit graves and honor their ancestors. Christianity, on the other hand, posits that death leads to divine judgment, where souls are destined for heaven, hell, or purgatory in Catholic doctrine. The idea of resurrection, particularly in connection with Jesus Christ, plays a central role in Christian theology. Funerary customs vary by denomination, but often include prayers, hymns, and burial in consecrated ground. In some Christian traditions, such as in Mexico's Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, the deceased are remembered through offerings and celebrations that blend indigenous and Catholic influences. Islam teaches that death is a transition to the afterlife, where souls await the day of judgment. Islamic funerals emphasize simplicity, with the body washed, wrapped in a white shroud, and buried as soon as possible. Muslims believe in barzakh, an intermediate state before resurrection, and an eventual divine judgment that determines entry into paradise, Jannah, or hell, Jahannam. Grieving in Islam follows specific customs, including recitation of the Quran and communal prayers. Excessive mourning is discouraged, as death is seen as part of God's plan. Contrary, many indigenous cultures view death as a transformation rather than an end. Animistic beliefs often emphasize the interconnectedness of life and death, where spirits of the dead continue to exist in nature. For instance, among the Toraja people of Indonesia, funerals are grand, multi-day ceremonies involving feasts and sacrifices, reflecting the belief that the deceased needs assistance in reaching the spirit world. Similarly, in many African traditions, ancestor veneration plays a crucial role, with offerings and rituals maintaining harmony between the living and the dead. In Tibetan Buddhism, sky burial reflects the impermanence of life and the interconnectedness of all beings. The body is offered to vultures, symbolizing the return of the physical form to nature while the soul moves on. This practice aligns with Buddhist teachings on non-attachment and the transient nature of existence. Altogether, despite these cultural differences, several common themes emerge in death rituals and afterlife beliefs. Number 1. Continuity of existence. Whether through reincarnation, resurrection, or spiritual persistence, most traditions reject the idea of total annihilation after death. Number 2. Moral judgment. Many cultures believe in a form of reckoning where actions in life influence one's fate in the afterlife. Number 3. Ritual purification. Whether through mummification, cremation, burial, or offerings, most societies emphasize preparing the deceased for the next stage of existence. Number 4. Ancestral connection. From Chinese ancestor worship to African libations, many traditions honor the dead as active participants in the lives of the living. At the same time, significant differences exist. Monotheistic religions, including Christianity and Islam, often stress divine judgment and an eternal afterlife, while Eastern traditions, including Hinduism and Buddhism, emphasize reincarnation. Indigenous and animistic cultures frequently view death as a return to nature or an ongoing relationship with the spirit world. While the specifics vary, these traditions reflect humanity's enduring quest to understand what lies beyond death and to maintain a connection between the past, present, and future. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe to our channel, Sociopedia.